All right. In this episode of the Dr. B Show, I interview the great Isabella Sanchez Castaneda. She is a podcast expert. She has her clear methodology and helps with frameworks, helps individuals that are stuck or struggling to start podcasts, take it off the ground, as they say. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I had an amazing conversation with my fellow paisana. Enjoy. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Dr. B Show. I'm here with the great Isabella Sanchez Castaneda. Isabella, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Recording here in the month of December. Happy holidays to you and your family. And I'm excited to have this conversation with you. I know it's been a couple of months in the making, and I know we had to push it because of me. Sorry about that, but we're here today. We're here now, right? So I'm going to jump right into it. So tell everyone about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you mentioned, my name is Isabella Sanchez Castaneda, and I am based in the Philly area. I do podcast strategy for entrepreneurs. So, what that means is if you want to be positioned as a thought leader, as an authority in what you're doing, I help you create that authority through solo episodes specifically. And I'm excited to just dive into that, dive into a little bit of background about myself and get to know you as well.
I love it. It's definitely a two-way street, right? So I'm big on education. As you know, I got my doctorate from Walden, right? So you went to Villanova. I'm a big fan of Villanova because I'm a big basketball fan. And like a lot of the
Yes.
team, Jalen Brunson included, is from Villanova, right? So you got your BA in Communication and Media Studies, magna cum laude. Congratulations to that. How did college shape you into what you're doing today?
So, going to Villanova was amazing. And so I studied journalism there, and they have a really amazing Vatican program being a Catholic university. So I got to study abroad my junior year, and I was there the whole time, actually in a news station that was in Spanish and in English, covering Rome and the Vatican. And a lot of the foundations came from that experience and really from my classes as well in journalism, in storytelling, in media production, and getting to combine all of that. And it was just such a special experience because it's not even that I know right now a lot of people like to say you can learn everything off of YouTube. And it's true, you can learn the tactics, but I think it's really about learning a way of thinking and having the people around you push you. And it was just really well worth it for me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Um, so thank you for that. Appreciate that. How important is it to join a board? I'm very big on volunteerism. Obviously, I told you, in our previous conversation that I joined Prospanica. Prospanica has a big presence in Philadelphia. Shout out to Jessica and everyone on the board there. So thanks to that experience with Prospanica, I was able to obviously gain a network, national network, and get that exposure, build my skills in order for me to do what I'm doing today. So, how big is volunteerism to you?
Yeah, so I've been really fortunate to be on the board of Acción Colombia here in the Philly area. And it was something I joined my sophomore year of college. So I was definitely the youngest and still am the youngest board member. And it was really interesting just to see how much goes into an organization where no one is getting paid, but everyone's doing it out of passion. And seeing that from obviously a community perspective and developing that love and that generosity always, but also seeing it from an organizational perspective and noticing it doesn't matter what kind of business it is or nonprofit it is, certain challenges will pop up in both. And so I get the experience of that while also giving back at the same time. And so I would recommend it wholeheartedly to anyone who has something that they can contribute. So for me, it's the same skills. I'm contributing to them, communication direction in terms of social media, in terms of getting the story of the organization out there. And it gave me a place to stretch that ability and give back at the same time.
I love it. As you guys know, if you don't know, for those in the Dr. B show, I am Colombian as well. So what's Acción Colombia's mission? I almost said it in
So
Spanglish. ¿Cuál es la misión de Acción Colombia? What is the mission of Acción Colombia?
yeah. So it's to strengthen and spread arts, culture, and civic engagement in the Philadelphia and tri-state area. And that's mainly done. This might release afterwards, but on Sunday we have the Sal y Dulce Festival. It's the 17th year. And in Philadelphia, it's a beautiful Christmas celebration. It started off very much with Colombian traditions and really focused on being Colombian, but over time it's evolved to just be an event that a lot of Latinos here in Philadelphia look forward to and are able to get together. We've kept it very affordable throughout the years, and I look forward to it all the time. So that is one of the main events, as well as citizenship class education for the exam, as well as, getting your passport and cedula from Colombia and other countries, and just these things that maybe big organizations aren't paying attention to as much, but having someone, a community partner there who you can call, you can email and get your questions answered is always amazing.
I love that. Yeah, unfortunately, we'll air after the fact, but yeah, it's great that you guys are doing great as far as giving back to the community and being a resource for things such as that, right? So, props to you guys there. So, I love that. Now I'm going to dive into you a little bit more, right? So, tell us about your entrepreneurship journey, being the founder CEO of Isa Media. Did I say that right? All right.
Yes.
My pronunciation is always off because I don't know what I'm talking. English, Spanish, Spanglish, etc. So, tell us about
That's amazing.
Isa Media.
Yeah. So, again, with that background in journalism that I was so fortunate to get from Villanova, I went into working in journalism after, and it was what I thought I had wanted for a really long time, but I noticed pretty quickly that it wasn't exactly it. And so I actually felt really anxious about that. And it was my parents who both emigrated here from Colombia, and they were the ones who were like, entrepreneurship is actually safer. And to me, I was like, I don't believe you. I've seen the things that y'all have gone through. And it was more of this belief in like, it's safer when you can control what's going to happen and when you can control where your money comes from. And their ability to believe in me and to push me allowed me to go into entrepreneurship a lot earlier than I think a lot of people would. And so that was back in 2020. I was able to start and doing social media work and podcasting work, and then over time have evolved to focusing exclusively on podcast work. But it's been a lot of that just trial and error and growth through hard lessons.
Interesting time. You started in 2020 during COVID. Did that amplify as far as better, or did that amplify you to work harder? Like for me, as an example, it kind of scaled me back, like a lot of us, right, in this world in 2020. But eventually figured it out. Did that help? Like for me, I founded this podcast during COVID, right? So obviously, I was able to reinvent myself. Did you get folks like that, clients like that, being able to wanting to reinvent themselves during COVID? Tell us about that experience in 2020.
Yeah, so I actually graduated from Villanova in 2020. So
Nice.
it was
Interesting
it
time.
was an interesting time.
Yeah.
So actually, I think, and I think about that a lot, and I think we'll never know, but because I graduated in 2020, my options were more limited. And so I didn't stay in journalism and just keep shuffling the job or the company. And then it allowed me, I think the limited options allowed me to see that it was the field that wasn't necessarily suiting me. And so that created the opportunity for business. So there was that. I think when I actually started going full force into business, it was, January, February of March 2021. And so the pandemic was just a little bit more normalized. Obviously, it was still something we didn't know. We didn't have the vaccine yet, anything like that. But people just saw a lot of opportunity, and people just saw opportunity online, especially. I work with a lot of coaches and consultants, and there was definitely a coaching boom in 2020 and 2021 specifically, where everyone kind of discovered that they could learn everything and anything online. And so now I see the after effects of that is that people who experience that boom now are having to work harder for those results because we are outside again. And so there's a different shift in marketing and difference there when people are so distracted and so consumed by other activities.
I am one of them. I created a course also during COVID, and I actually made some sales. And then once, like you said, once the world opened up, then now I'm working harder to kind of like reinvent myself, come up with different strategies to kind of make sure that I stay afloat, right, and stay on top of folks' minds. So kudos to you to that. So I want to talk about your business a little bit more. So tell me how specifically, I think you touched on it a little bit, but can you kind of elaborate a little bit more, pull the curtain back, so to speak, of how like your hands-off production works? So you basically you help everyone from scripting, recording, editing, promotion. Do they just like show up and record? Or tell me about that. Tell us about that.
So, no matter how folks work with me, it always starts with the foundation of what they're saying. So, while we're on an interview based show right now, I actually encourage most people to do solo episodes where they are the ones delivering the information, not a guest. And so, in order to do that, though, it requires a lot of intention and preparation. Some people will go and kind of wing it and start talking, but over time, that actually can really erase trust with your audience because your audience doesn't know what to expect. Some episodes are going to be way better than others. Versus when you prepare and you put intention and have a process in place, there's a little bit more consistency in the quality, not just the quantity of it. So I encourage folks to do planned solo episodes and really deciding what are you going to talk about? What are those topics going to be? Who are they directed towards? Is where I start with everyone. Right now, the majority of people I work with are scripting their own show and they need support in learning the process and getting feedback. For other folks, I'm the one writing for them, and it's almost like ghostwriting, where I'm able to really capture their voice, capture their message, and plan, prepare all of these episodes for them to read, and then we go on to record them. But it's always coming back to what is that message that you want to deliver to people and be able to have them take away and really remember you as the person that gave them that little perspective shift.
Want to raise capital for your deals without hitting dead ends? And Dealmaker how to easily raise unlimited capital for your deals. Business strategist and investor Dr. Harold Borja, that's me, unveils the proven strategies that successful deal makers use to secure funding, attract investors, and close deals with confidence. Whether you're a real estate investor, entrepreneur, or business owner, this book will teach you how to find and connect with the right investors, leverage networking, partnerships to access capital and secure funding opportunities, structure deals that make investors say yes, building lasting relationships that lead to more opportunities. If you're tired of struggling to fund your deals, this book will give you a clear, actionable roadmap to securing capital and growing your investments. The money's out there. Are you ready to get it? Grab your copy today and start making deals happen. Go to BorjaConsultingGroup.com. That's BorjaConsultingGroup.com for more information on launch date, launch party, and other events related to the book. Let's get it.
I love it. So you help with both sides of the spectrum. So I love that. I love that. I'm going to pivot into some statistics that I found, and I just want your opinion on it. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
This is where I get technical. This is my academic hiro now, right? So
yes.
I found this blog. According to Quill Podcasting, 67% of U.S. 12 ages or more have listened to a podcast, including my 9-year-old, 8-year-old, right? So I guess she's under that. Also, 47% of the U.S. 12 or more have listened to a podcast in the last month. I've also read that there's over close to 546 million podcast listeners worldwide. I took a look today before this interview. There's about $8.1 billion people on Earth, right? So is there still an opportunity to start a podcast? And if there is, why in 2025?
Yeah, I think this is the time for podcasts. This is podcasting has been around for over a decade now, but the popularity is only growing. And to add another statistic, the average podcast listener is listening to 8 shows a week. So 8 different creators a week. So there's always room to become one of those 8 and be part of their rotation. There's a big spike in PR wanting to be part of podcasting, especially after we saw the role of podcasting in the last election. And whether you're happy about it or not, it really put on the map how much influence a podcast can have. Because right now, the person listening to us, we're probably directly in their ears. We are in a pair of headphones. If you're listening, you might be in the car. You might be, the only other people in your car is usually your spouse and your kids. And so that is the level of intimacy that a podcast gives you. And that intimacy creates a big deal of influence over someone. The other thing is, unlike other algorithms, podcasts are chosen. You go in and you choose to listen to this show. Thank you for choosing that. And that means that you are allowing the two of us to influence you. And so that is really powerful. And if you, as a business owner, want to be able to influence people for good and say, hey, I want to actually make a difference in the world and help people, a podcast is one of the best mediums to do it because of that intimacy and choice that comes along with it. And so even if there are billions of people who don't listen to shows, there are hundreds of thousands that are very aligned with most missions, who will be tuning in and looking for a show like yours. So there's so much more opportunity, and there's only going to be an increasing amount.
I love it. So people like you will be in demand for the foreseen future, right? For the next, right? Hopefully,
it'll be
right?
Great.
Hopefully, right?
Well, and that's the thing is really thinking about it. So people get really caught up in, will I be, a show with 1 million downloads? How fast can I get to 1 million downloads? And something that I was thinking about was, recently we had the Philly Marathon, and I was out because I live very close by to one of the areas, like I can hear it. So I went outside and I was cheering for people and all this stuff. And you saw how just cheering for one person changed their pace. Like if you were cheering for them, they had their names on their bibs. And so if you said their name, they perked up, and it made that 1 second of their 26.2 miles easier. And I think that if we took that approach to podcasting, where we thought, wow, I made 1 second or 10 minutes of one person's journey a little bit easier, a little bit more fun, a little bit more exciting, we would appreciate what 100 listeners looks like, versus always thinking about, no, I need 1 million, I need another 1,000, I need to always go for more. And so folks who are a little bit worried about do I have a big enough audience? It's about scaling it back to that one that you're really talking to.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I'm going to add you a couple of curveballs, very minor, very easy because you're an expert, right? So do you see more demand the audio only, or do you see a rise in YouTube? I publish on both because some people are visual, and some folks, like you said, are on the road at the gym, on the way to school, on the way to work or business. So what can you comment on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So there's definitely an increasing demand for video podcasts, mainly because of the searchability of YouTube and how you can find new people there. However, if you're just getting your show started, or maybe you're debating adding video, the quality is always going to be most important. And so if you can put together a really great audio podcast and take your time to edit it and take your time to do that well, and adding video would actually decrease that quality, it's not time to add video yet. If you can maintain the same audio quality and add video and then increase the quality of the video over time, then yes, but never sacrifice the audio quality for the video, because ultimately podcasting is still a audio first platform, and the majority of your listeners are still going to come from audio.
Got it. Thank you for those great tips. I appreciate it. I'm gonna give you one last additional one, right?
Yes.
So without pulling back the curtains too much, give us 2 quick tips for those that are looking to start a podcast. What is the best way to grow their show?
Yeah. So I think the first thing is make your episodes more specific. So if you are doing solo episodes and you want to talk about, let's say that you're someone who's doing like bookkeeping, we're coming up on tax season. And so if you're someone who's doing bookkeeping, instead of doing an episode about here are the 10 numbers you need to know in your business, you can do 10 episodes about each of those numbers one by one and really go in depth and share generously with people about what they need to know. And that's going to grow faster because people are actually going to be able to retain a lot more if you do shorter, more specific episodes. And the second thing I would say is don't forget to invite people to connect with you on another platform. So folks are a little bit afraid to sound salesy or a little bit afraid to sound like, oh, they want my email address or whatever. Don't worry about that. If you know that you created a valuable episode, go ahead and invite people to take the next step with you and follow you on Instagram, join your email list, go into your program, book a call, wherever it makes sense for you to direct them. But don't forget that call to action. It's one of the most important things that I see most people forget.
Great tips. Yeah, a lot of people forget the call to action. Even when I coach my mentees, I coach a lot on like the elevator pitch and specifically for like pitch competitions, and you forgot the call to action. All right, where are gonna people invest in you? How can they reach out to you? And they forget to like mention their website or social media or phone number even, right? So thank you for those tips. Really appreciate you there. We're winding down, so I have a couple of more questions, and then we're good. You're off the hot seat, as they say, right? So, can you provide an example? Like, it could be anonymous. You don't have to give a person's name or business of how you help increase their business visibility and revenue through podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a couple of positive case studies. In other words,
Yeah, absolutely. So, the one I'm thinking of now, just because I had a call with her this morning. So she is an agency owner, a virtual assistant agency owner. So she will match people to their dream virtual assistant. And she had been doing a lot of episodes where she was trying to hide the actual service. Like she was trying to kind of skirt around the fact that she was selling something. And then she was wondering, like, why am I not getting any sales from it? And I'm like, you're allowed to be more direct. Just be more direct and say, these are the 3 ways that hiring a virtual assistant will help you as a busy mom. And then she followed that up with, these are the 3 ways that hiring a virtual assistant will make you more money. And just by talking about it very directly and saying, like, this is actually what I want you to know, people appreciated that so much. And she got more calls booked. She booked multiple clients directly from podcast episodes because she wasn't afraid to just say what she wanted to say. And there's a lot of advice out there that's like, oh no, give them tips and give them like education and all this stuff. But if they're hiring virtual assistants, they don't want to do it themselves. So why not just give them what they actually want? And for her, like the goal was really driving revenue. For other folks who maybe have that already and are more looking for speaking opportunities. I'm thinking of another client who actually landed a keynote because they listened to her podcast and they said, hey, you talked about, she's a mental health professional. And so they said, hey, in, episode 8 of your podcast, you talked about the role that demographics like race, ethnicity, gender play in the therapeutic dynamic. Can you give a speech on that? And she said, of course, but they knew exactly what she was an expert in because she already had a really well put together podcast. And that showed it without her having to apply or jump through hoops or things like that. And so a show can open up so many doors that you don't even realize just by being a little bit more intentional and well thought out.
I love that. 2 amazing examples. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. So thank you for that. We're almost winding down. We're almost out of time, and I'm very mindful of your time. What final thoughts you could give for someone who's on the fence of starting a podcast?
I think it's something that if you're being called to do it and you know that you have a message that you can expand upon, then go for it. And really what I mean by expand upon is go really deep on, something that you can talk about for months and months. And the only, I think it's 37% of podcasts make it past their 10th episode. And so make sure that it's a topic that you can talk about for at least 12 episodes so that you cross that mile mark. And if you need the help, reach out. Either one of us can give you so much help, like be able to talk to you about interviewing or solo episodes, and we're here for you.
Love it. Yeah, love it. We're definitely here for you for sure. Call to action. Where can people find you? I appreciate you being on my show, by the way.
Yeah, thank you so much. So you can find me on Instagram at Isa, ISA, Media Inc., INC. And then on there, I actually have a guide for folks who have started a podcast already or are looking to start one, about 5 mistakes that most podcasters are making, and they can fix it in an hour if they want to. And that will really get you started with a strong foundation.
I love it. Isabella Sanchez Castaneda, it's been a pleasure having you on my show. Here's some great nuggets, great tips. Great to know you, a fellow Colombiana, fellow paisana, as they say. I appreciate you being on the Dr. B show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Hopefully we'll get to do it again soon.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll have a cafecito. Well, I don't drink coffee, but we'll have a cafecito empanada soon.
Yes.
Isabella Sanchez, everybody. Thank you. Everybody, hopefully you enjoyed that episode with Isabella Sanchez Castaneda. It was an amazing conversation, sweet girl, and I think it's a great opportunity for you, for those that are on the fence, in order to start a podcast, and she does a great job breaking down the framework. So, hey, for more information about the new book coming out, Deal Maker, How to Easily Raise Unlimited Capital for Your Deals, just go to BorjaConsultingGroup.com. That's BorjaConsultingGroup.com.